Hello again, this is Caleb Crisp, and today I have the Samsung CHG70 curved monitor, and this is my latest monitor that I've purchased, and it is going to be my daily driver for a very long time. I cannot wait to tell you guys about it, so let's go ahead and jump into the video. So here we are with the monitor on my desk. Obviously it's still in the box, and I'm actually going to have to rearrange my desk to get everything set up properly. There's not enough space for it with the monitor. So through the magic of movie making, we're just going to go ahead and boom, it's all set up. And you're actually going to see my computer is now over on the right hand side of the desk on a separate table, as opposed to previously where it was on the left side of the desk. So I've noticed that it's actually very difficult, even more so than standard monitors, to do it justice in a video. I tried using different cameras, I tried using it in different lighting situations, as you'll see, but nothing I can really get just quite does it justice. The closest I get is with this footage right here. And we'll get to the specs of the monitor in a moment, but just watching the QLED images or videos on YouTube kind of gets it as best as I could get it. We'll show it in some games in a second, but this is the best I was able to do. Just recording it with an iPhone 8, you know, in like, what was it, 4K 30, I believe. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and get into the specs while we're looking at this footage, and we'll see some games in a second as well. So the main specs, the ones that you're probably looking for in a monitor, it's 144 Hertz, 27 inches curved, HDR, 2560 by 1440, so 2K, has FreeSync, which might be compatible with NVIDIA in the near future, and it's QLED with quantum dot, which I would try and describe to you what that means, but it's kind of complicated. If you really want to experience it before you buy it, I recommend going to Best Buy and just looking at some of their QLED TVs or their OLED TVs. OLED's a little bit better than QLED, but these still look fantastic. Oh, and it also has a 1 millisecond response time. So I actually had better luck getting footage of the Division almost right here, as opposed to later when I get it close up. So in the Division, just so you know before you buy one of these monitors, since it is 2K, it does require a beefier graphics card to run even at 60 FPS. Because I'm averaging around 60 to 90 FPS in the Division. Later on, when I'm zoomed in, you'll see it's dropping a little bit. That's because I have a background task going. But typically, it's around between 65 and 90 frames per second, depending on how hectic it is. But it absolutely looks fantastic. My computer is rocking an i7-8700K, GTX 1080 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, and an M.2 SSD. So as you can see, we're now zoomed in on the Division, and I'm doing my best to get good footage for you guys. But what I've noticed is that the monitor is actually so bright that it kind of messes with the camera no matter which one I use and in which situation. The reason it looked slightly better earlier when I was in the frame as well is, I believe, just because it was taking up less of the frame. And also I turned off the light here just to try and do it justice, but it's just so bright it's difficult to get good footage of it, which is a good thing because in real life it looks absolutely fantastic. So I'm just going to leave this up here for just a second, and then we'll try it out in a different game. I cannot overstate, if you're getting this version, they have a version of this that has all the same features, just as 1080p instead of 1440p. I don't really recommend that one. I've looked at reviews of that one and also seen videos of it, and it seems as though the 2K one is just infinitely better and way more bang for your buck. This one I got for $470. This is a prime example of those camera issues. When you're looking into the sun right there, it's a beautiful shot. I actually took a picture of it just normally, or attempted to at least. It's had the same problem. But it's so difficult to do it justice. I think the Division shows it the best out of camera. Oh yeah, all of this is out of camera if you couldn't tell. It'd be kind of bad if it was all, being recorded by NVIDIA Shadow Play or something. Obviously Counter-Strike is perfectly fine. You could get away with an RX 480 running Counter-Strike in high FPS. Just one thing to know, or to note rather, if you have, I'm not sure about other versions of it, but my previous graphics card was a GTX 970, and I don't know if this is true for all of them, but my GTX 970 could not, I just could not get it to output 2K. It just wasn't working properly. I tried a whole bunch. I tried every possible solution. Now I had the PNY blower version, so it only had mini DisplayPort and what's it called? Mini HDMI. So it probably was something to do with that. I read online that typically 970s are able to handle it, handle 2K in theory, but just if you're using that card, just be warned that you're probably not going to have the highest frame rate if you're doing 2K, and B, make sure you have DisplayPort at least on the back of your on your card. Now there are a few other specs, I guess you could say, that we probably should go over for this video. I'm watching the gameplay as I record this, and oh my god, Modern Warfare 2, that was a fantastic game, one of the best games ever made in my opinion. And I typically am not huge into just shooter games, but this one was a major exception. Anyway, back to the additional specs. So it's got 92% of the Adobe Spectrum accuracy. I obviously use Adobe a bit, but I'm not a pro, so I'm not. All I know is it looks great. It's super bright. If I haven't said that enough, it does have a VESA mount that comes with it. Not the mount to the wall, but it has like a little adapter that comes with it in the box, which I actually had to take off to get it set up. It was mildly confusing. You do need to have a pretty deep desk if you want to use this monitor, and I've seen other people say the same thing about this one. It's it operates on this lever, like when you want to raise, lower, and rotate it, and it's actually really cool and feels really smooth. You just want to make sure you get a good desk though, or a deep desk. It's a 3000 to 1 contrast ratio, and it comes pre-calibrated as well. And its pre-calibration is actually pretty solid. All I did was adjust the, it's called like the black stabilizer or something like that. Let me find it. The black equalizer, I upped that to 20 just because it looked pretty cool. But honestly, it comes perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about calibrating anything, which is really nice. So obviously, League of Legends, typically a bright game in general, a perfect example of just how difficult it is to do this monitor justice. Like, look at Azir's character model right there. Azir is the character I'm playing if you don't play the game. He's like a glowing blob, whereas in real life you can see every little detail. It's almost better to stand in the shrubbery there. Like, it's actually ridiculous just how difficult it is to record this monitor, at least with the gear that I have and the knowledge that I have. So that's pretty much it for the tech specs. If you'd like to see a full in-depth review and maybe a setup process, I suppose I could take it apart and put it back together or whatever, or at least maybe show the arm. We might do that in a future video. I'll certainly do something later on editing with it, but that's pretty much it for this video. Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention. Some people I saw said that it was like there was a little bit of a learning curve to pun intended to getting used to the curve. I didn't really notice that, because when you're sitting in front of it, at least with the 27-inch version, it just takes up more of your field of view. You don't actually see a curve that much. But maybe that's just me. At the end of the day, I highly recommend this monitor. I think it is the best one on the market, at least for the value. I'll take 144 hertz at 2K over 4K 60 any day of the week. So if you have any questions about it, just leave a comment in the video. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it, because I'm a YouTuber, or attempting to be. So therefore, I'm legally obligated to demand likes and subscribes. So with that, I'll bid you guys adieu and toodaloo.